So if we want to make learning stick, how does learning stick, right? Let's make it really easy. It's not very difficult. It's not difficult. If you go, there's so many ways to explain it from metaphor. Let me do it this way. I will ask most teachers, and I ask them to stand up. How many people didn't learn a subject till they taught the subject? And everyone stands in the room. Okay. So why is that? They went to university. They didn't learn a subject until they taught the subject.
It's true.
And it's because they're doing all the weightlifting. So how you gain muscle, I think we talked about in the last podcast, how you gain muscle is the same way learning sticks. And what you do is you go to the gym. A long time ago, I had this really great trainer, Peter, who's such a good guy. What he would do is he put in it, I complained the whole time, but he knew what he was doing. He put the weights in my hand, and what he would do is this is the science, there's fibers in the arm, and he's going to have you lift weights, because when you lift the weight in the right way, it's going to make the muscle fire. It fires. And the more times you lift the weights in different ways, it fires. And then the muscle unleashes. And a lot of people go to the gym and they go, I'm going 3 times a week. But what happens is they are drinking water, or they're on their phone, they lift weights for 3 minutes, talk to somebody else. You literally have to lift weights the entire time. And it's very, very intentional. So Peter would move the weight and say, move it just a little bit more. And I go, oh, there it is. So it's the same is true in learning. Okay, it's intentional. The science is it's intentional and planned for student. We work with adults too, and it's learner engagement. So what it means is students, we have to know what it is we want to get to stick. We call that the it. What is it? What is it really? And then we have to get students to lift the weights in multiple ways on those it. So they have to write it and speak it and explain it and teach it and dance it and teach it. But it's intentional. So tomorrow, it's intentional, the engagement that will happen. It's me conducting a symphony, not in a patronizing way, but I'm trying to get them to lift weights in multiple ways. So if you do that throughout the year, and a lot of teachers, when they learn it, will say, I got to really think about what I want to get to stick, actually.
That's great.
I got to get really clear about what the it is. And they will start debating, what is it really? And what they'll find is, a kid on a computer, not necessarily it's task completion, it's getting through assignments, but it's intentional. We literally have to be getting, and we say, make learning stick for everyone, because everyone's the equity piece, because you got to have a lens and say, are the kids of color lifting the weights? Are the multilingual kids lifting the weights? Are the refugee kids lifting the weights? Make learning stick for everyone. And it's got to be so ambitious that we may not see it in our lifetime, but damn, we're going for it. And we become intentional and plan for student engagement. It's all about lifting the weights.
I think as I get older, like I said, I'm 40. I feel like I'm getting older.
I'm 55. Hang on to 40.
I'm thinking a lot about intentionality. And so my wife and I went out for dinner the other night, and I remember if I'm meeting with someone, I put in a bit of effort. Like, I'm meeting with you, I think about what are the things that I want the audience to get out? How do I want you to feel after the conversation? But what I realized is quite often in many other relationships, so in my marriage and my friendships, you just kind of just turn up, And so I thought, I thought, okay, we're going for a walk. We've got 2 young kids. We've sent them off to the grandparents. What do I want this to look like? What are some of the key conversations I want to have? How do I want us both to feel at the end of this precious short time we get together? And it's actually changed the way that I approach teaching our kids. Like I was doing a science lesson today, and I was like, what is the one thing that when the bell rings, I want my kids to understand? Not the thousands of different times. What is that one thing? And I found feedback is so powerful. So going back to the example of going on a date with my wife, asking her, my intention was that I wanted to have a deeper connection and have a conversation about how we were going, because life is crazy. And then I asked her at the end of the date, and she was like, you know what? You did pretty good on that. And at the end of a lesson, asking the students, do you have an understanding? What was that one thing that we were supposed to be doing? And how are you going with that? And so I think that's a very long-winded way of me saying the importance of I'm really appreciating the importance of intentionality, and you cannot do everything. But what
No,
is